Hello. I wanted to talk to you about integrity in the tutoring business because a lot of the tutors I know, well, we are independent tutors, right? So what that means, we do everything in the business. But we all have the same passion. We have the passion for helping our students, for helping those who maybe do not get the help they should in school. Whatever the reason is, all the tutors that I know, we have this burning passion for helping students, whether it's children or adults, do better than they did before. Okay. And then we have these big hearts. And I see over and over again that because of this, sometimes we break our own rules that we have set in our business. And this means that to a degree, we break our own integrity on certain things. And when we do that, then that can cause us to not feel good about that particular relationship with the student, or that can make us feel burned out a little bit because we're like, oh no, now I need to do this again. And there's obviously something when we arrive to this point where we're like, we don't really want to do it, that something happened earlier. We accepted something that we probably shouldn't have. Okay. And that's why I always stress, and I feel it's really important that when we are as independent tutors, we're doing everything. Okay. It's like it's a one-man show very often, right? So that means that we do the invoices, we do the onboarding, we're teaching, we are preparing, we're handling upsets, we do everything. And it's even more important at that point that when we have laid out, kind of the rules and what we feel is good, when we break that, then that means that we have gone, out integrity. And that causes us to feel tired and not motivated and up to the point where we can feel burned out. So I feel it's important that we speak about this because we are the ones that set the rules, which is great, right? It's a huge responsibility, but it's also great because we can shape our business the way we want it. Okay. So I find it really important that we set standards and we set rules for our business. We set the values, and there are certain things that just should not be tampered with or go soft on or something like this. Okay. So if it is that, you have, let's say, well, I can give my example. Okay. So I have certain values, I have certain rules that I need to stick to for my own good, right? For my well-being, and that I feel that I'm doing the best I can in my business with the people I want to work with. Okay. So one of my things is that I never do any business with black money. Okay. I declare everything, and that's me. Okay. You do what you want, but I'm just saying that that's me. And then if I then at some point decides to accept someone that pays me without an invoice, I might feel, okay, well, maybe I want to do it because I want to help. I want to help the person. I want to, that's a big tutor heart, right? That speaks because we want to help people. And we probably want to help people more than maybe other businesses, right? So then that means that the moment that I kind of break my own integrity, there's something not right about the relationship between me and the client and the student that I have. Okay. So there are certain things that I have decided that in my business, that's survival, that's correct for me, that aligns with my values. And the moment that we kind of, say, okay, well, maybe I can push that aside and whatever, then we have opened the door to something that could make us really tired in our business and just makes us feel like I'm not really so excited about it. And okay, maybe we can do it once and we feel okay with it or whatever, we somehow make an excuse that that's okay. But if it repeats itself enough, we might not realize where it comes from, right? But we will start to feel like, okay, I'm not so interested in this, and why am I feeling like I'm dragging my heels and all of these things. But if you really like, even if you've already started tutoring, right, and you might be in the middle of your business, you can always stop up and say, okay, so now these are my values, these are my integrity points, and they are just non-negotiable. Okay. And it can also be other things, okay, that you feel that, okay, that I will do every time or that I won't do at any time, anything like this. And then you need to have the guts to stick with it. Because I've done it, a lot of times. So I'm like, okay, well, I really like to fill that spot there. And okay, the person it might be a little off my integrity points, but okay, I'm trying to make it work because, okay, we also business owners, we want income and we want to make things go right and things like this. And I just know that every time I have this bad taste in my mouth and I'm like, there's something. And that means that I do not give myself 100%. I know me, right? Because I have something there. And it's just my integrity is just out at that point. Okay. And it's just, we are too valuable as tutors to go down due to a thing that we have violated ourselves. Okay. So I kind of realized that every time that I did something like this, I could trace it back to me, obviously, saying yes to something that I wasn't 100% behind. And that's kind of when I'm like, okay, so that makes sense because sometimes I was feeling like, I don't want to have this group or, there's just something about it that was not right. But I always trace it back to what did I say yes to that I shouldn't have? Okay. I give you one last example. Last year, I had a student. Well, actually, he was not in my group. He was in a group that one of my other tutors that I was hiring, she had this boy. And then I took over a couple of times in the year because there was some sickness and whatever. And there was something about this boy that he was just, constantly dragging the other boy's attention off of me and was like, yeah, this is so silly and so kids like. And I mean, he was like, he's a kid, right? And anyways, the vibe was not very good. But okay, I only had him a couple of times, but I did say to him at that point in time, I said, listen, this kind of behavior, it was not right. And, it's okay if you find it childish, but then, okay, that I was doing stuff for the age group. So it was not totally off, but for him, it was just rolling their eyes and, like really making me feel like I was doing a bad job, really. Anyways, so then this year in September, this boy's parents, obviously, they seemed happy with it. So they signed him up again. I'm like, okay, fine. I didn't really have him every week. So I didn't want to just kind of jump to a conclusion from a few lessons I had with him last year. And then we started the year and I had cashed in the first 3 months of lessons and everything. And from the first lesson, same behavior, like what's she doing? And this is, I mean, this is like a 6-year-old, right? So it's like, yeah, it's just not cool at all. And then he was like saying to the other two boys, like, oh my God, now we're gonna listen to a song again. And it was just a constant kind of behavior that even though I said, okay, listen, I tried to kind of handle myself on it. And I spoke to him and said, would you mind to not do that? Because he was taking the concentration of the other boys. Anyways, 2 or 3 lessons went by. And I was just at that point, I was like, no, this is not going to work because I knew that every time, I mean, we had done like 3 weeks. It's like nothing, right? But I just knew that every time I was going to do that group, I was just like, oh no. I really felt bad and I didn't feel good about it. And I knew that it was this boy. I've spoken to him many times, and I also actually wrote to the parents last year, even I only had him for a few times. And then I'm like, okay, I need to do something because otherwise I'm going to have a miserable year. The other students, they're going to be distracted by him. And then I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's because, he's bored with it. Maybe he knows more than the others. So then I tried to change the technique and I asked him more difficult questions, but he could not answer any of it. So I'm like, okay, it's not that. Anyways, in the end, to kind of make the story short now, what I did was that I wrote to the parents and said, can you find out, does your son actually like to come to the English lessons? Because I told them my point of view in a nice way, that I felt that he wasn't interested at all by being there. And he was just taking out his, Pokemon cards and, was kind of, just want to play with the other boys and things like this. So I wrote to the parents and asked them. And the mother was like, well, when we asked, how did it go in English? And he's like, yeah, it's fine. And things like this. And I'm like, okay, but can you just find out? Because I find that he was not at all interested, etc. So anyways, in the end, the mother was like, yeah, when we spoke to him, he was like, no, it's not really for him and all of this. And I'm like, okay, I get it. And I refunded them for the year. And he finished the group. And the week after that, so the first lesson we had without this boy, the group was just fantastic. The other boys, attentive, interested. And now I love the group. Okay. So it's just, I wanted to give you this story to tell you that if there's something that doesn't feel right, find out what it is, right? Find out where did you kind of, go a little off your thing, off your integrity and whatever. And maybe it's just something that comes up that you couldn't have handled beforehand, right? It could be just, okay, something happened and now you find out it's not aligning with what you want to do. And then obviously you handle it that. But I'm telling you, I'm so, so glad I took this decision because now all my groups, every day that I teach, they are beautiful. I have over 100 students and I love all my groups. But I would have hated this one because I wouldn't know exactly how to either handle him or how to get the other people's attention or what. It was just not a good match. So it's just so important that you have your integrity in and that you are happy in your business. Okay. It's the first one I've done this with, right? It's not something I do often. It's like in 15 years, this is the first time it happened, right? So it's not like, oh my God, I'm going to get rid of all my students. No, it's not. Okay. And obviously these points can come in 100 different disguises, but it's important that when you have your business, you are the person who does everything. You need to make sure that you're happy with everything you do. And if there are any kind of small points that you're not happy with, fix it. Okay, handle it. So that when you go to those students or you sit down to do your invoices or you sit down to prepare the lessons, you are a happy tutor. Okay, because you have to be happy and fully in what you do to also give that service. Okay, so it's just super important that whatever the points are on integrity that you have and that you feel are important, keep them in. Okay, or change. It can just be small, tiny changes, right? It doesn't have to be like a whole blow up, for the year, but just one little thing, fix it, because then you're like, oh, okay, good. I'm happy. That's done. Okay. Another thing. And it doesn't have to be with your students. It can also be with your setup. It could be with the hours. It could be with anything. Like if you decided, I'm not going to tutor evenings after 7 o'clock because I want to be with my kids. And then that person comes like, oh, I can only do 78. Can you take me? And you're like, yeah, okay, fine. And then every time 7 o'clock comes, you're a bit like, I promised my children, or whatever. And you don't feel 100% with it, it's not good. We have to align with our values and everything else. Okay. So it might be a bit of tough love, right? And I'm not going to say I'm sorry because, it's if we're really happy with what we do, it shows and the people will be happy and it will come out in anything you do, any post on Facebook, Instagram, or anything like this. It will show. Okay. So have a look and see, is there anything that you can kind of tweak or change or somehow do something so you feel like, okay, now it's good. Now you feel happy with it and it's exactly as you want it. Okay. Have a look because this is going to change the way you think about things. Okay. So there you go. Integrity, super important. See you soon.